Greetings from Costa Rica and welcome to a special Friday broadcast here on January 30th, 2026. Today, I'm going to show one of the last interviews I ever did with the late, great Michael Allen. If you don't know him, Michael Allen had a YouTube channel with about 50,000 subscribers at the time of his passing. Michael and Diego had been publishing videos for nearly 20 years with a lot of honest advice about visiting Costa Rica and their platform, travelcostaricanow.com. Michael also got into real estate and continued to provide very honest advice for people in that realm. He had me on his channel a few times, and although he definitely had some controversial opinions or some controversial moments, I found him to be an incredibly genuine, generous person who, like he said, was not motivated by money. I'm very proud that he actually had me on his channel because at times he had expressed a very low opinion of realtors and the whole Costa Rica real estate game. And I really found him to just be one of these people that's absolutely genuine about who they are. He was completely open with me about his opinions. He was very sharing and willing to be generous with people in his sphere. I have to say, this is actually the interview that I'm going to play for you where we talk about his opinion of realtors, just Costa Rica real estate in general, and the project that he was working on is not actually the absolute last video we ever taped together. We got this in November of 2024. Michael passed away from pancreatic cancer in April of 2025. We did record one more video later in the day after this interview. And Michael had had a few beers, so it's actually an interesting interview. However, that second interview has a very bad sound glitch. If there's anyone out there who is a pro video editor and able to clean up audio, be sure to contact me so that we can get that other interview cleaned up and presented to the world. I know that there are a lot of people who miss Michael dearly ever since he passed away last year in April. And so I wanted to share this content because first of all, I had lost the little memory chip on which this interview was recorded. It actually slipped into the space in the car beneath the handbrake. And only recently I remembered that the chip had gone down there and I had my mechanic get it out. And second of all, yeah, I know that there are a lot of people who would love to see some more Michael Allen content. So without further ado, here is the last interview, or close to the last interview I ever recorded with Michael Allen regarding Costa Rica realtors and real estate here. Please.
Sure, we're good?
You look good, man.
I look hot?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, you got lots of people watching out there who might be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
On my audience.
Recording.
Greetings from Costa Rica. Next to me, we have the world famous Michael Allen. Michael is travelcostaricanow.com. Today, I'm asking him about his experiences with Costa Rica realtors. I'm also going to ask him to be honest about the feedback he's gotten from his clients, the people who have come through Costa Rica over the years. Because frankly, I'm in my bubble. I'm in the real estate world. We have our WhatsApp chats. I go on Facebook a little bit, on Instagram, etc. Frankly, I don't hear from a lot of foreigners coming through the country who don't end up dealing with me or buying property.
You're in your own thing.
I'm in my own bubble. Let's try and break it a little bit. I know that you have honest feedback to provide.
Yeah, Matt just works with elites. He doesn't know.
Absolutely.
He doesn't go with the little people.
So let's talk about that. Have you ever experienced a perception that realtors here only work with the elites?
No, I obviously made that
Where
up.
did that come from?
Yeah, sorry. So when we started a real estate channel because we saw the need and we thought, I mean, frankly, there's a lot of property around here in this area in Fortuna, Chichagua. A lot of people, it's very appealing.
Yeah.
So we thought, hey man, we'll just start making some videos. People asked us to, like, hey, can you help me sell my house? And if we liked the house, we would try to help them. And then it got in, hey, we should just start a channel and do this thing. So we like, how do we do this? And we're going to need a lawyer. We're not really real estate agents necessarily, but people want us to show the house that they saw us make a video on, which creates another kind of issue because we're not technically agents. So we had to find a lawyer to maybe help us walk through what we needed to do, the due diligence part of it.
Yeah.
And, but the problem, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, starting off the bat, you started dabbling in real estate, and this was 2023, after you had been here since what year?
This month is 19.
Yeah. You are so different than a lot of people who end up only after 6 months or a year here saying, oh, I'm going to start getting involved in real estate. So first of all, kudos that it took that long for you to get involved in it. And that even after 19 years here, you were still recognizing you didn't really know what was going on.
Well, to be honest, you know how it kind of happened? We're like, what we try to do is put information on should you even buy a house, that kind of thing. So we just didn't put houses up. Similar to what your channel is. You have other information. You're like, maybe could you even be buying in the first 2 years? Maybe not. I don't know. So we had those kind of videos. So we were kind of trying to be different. And then when we did the videos of a particular property, we kind of weren't that professional, like I would say, nah, I don't know about this wood here, or we would just say stuff. Or I said this in a video, swear to God, it's up today. At the end of the video, I go, this is overpriced. You can get this for cheaper. I don't, we didn't know how much it was until just about 2 minutes ago. Yeah. And I think you can get it down. Okay, I'm Michael Allen for Trouble. Seriously, I didn't, because I hated what I despised was people fishing properties using us to fish them. So, the property that's really $250,000, they go, yeah, I think we're looking for $500,000. And I'm like, motherfucker, are you kidding me right now? And so I would be offended.
Totally.
Because now I'm offending the people watching me.
Yeah.
And then we ran into a problem with the real estate lawyer where I would go, okay, we got a lawyer for you. Here you go here. She's going to help, she's going to help you walk through. Well, it didn't go well with personally.
the lawyer.
Let's just talk personal business. Personally, I like her.
Yeah.
Business-wise, she wasn't on her game, and people were complaining. Like paperwork wasn't getting in a timely manner. Not everything was checked off because, as you know, obviously, there's a lot of due diligence that needs to be done that could really, if it's not done, could put the buyer in some responsibility, we'll say, that he didn't know he had, like an electric bill that hadn't been paid for 3 years or something.
Absolutely.
And then the real estate lawyer would kind of, would miss something like that. Or then I also had a problem, unfortunately, with Michael, I feel like I was overcharged. And I'm like, oh, no. Because now this is a reflection on me because I pointed this person to this person. She's going to treat you right.
Yeah.
And okay, I understand things happen. You know, there's mistakes made. But, if you start hearing, let's say, similar things.
Yep. No, totally. That's one of the biggest deficiencies to explain to people is that, yes, while you do absolutely need a great lawyer to handle your real estate transaction, simply the fact that they are a real estate lawyer doesn't necessarily mean that they are your be-all, end-all security, insurance policy, especially for those due diligence questions that can be sort of nuanced. And
very nuanced.
It does. So finding that team of people and getting them together can be one of the hardest things that I think definitely in an immature real estate market where you don't have a lot of people who are processing a lot of transactions for foreigners, it's hard to find people with experience.
And then you have the problem is, people go, real estate's pretty good money maker. Everyone's wins, good, good sell, not too much. You get a little bit of money. I think some lawyers, yeah, I could do real estate. Yes. But matter of fact, I am a real estate lawyer.
Absolutely.
No, you're not. You just talk shit. But I didn't know you were talking. Okay, yeah. Mike, I can absolutely help you. Yeah. Yes, of course. In their head, they're going, shoot, man, I don't. And that's a problem because, it's just like, how the real estate was for a long time where it's kind of like this still a little bit, but anybody could sell it.
Yes.
And if they're good on their game, you actually do not know. They can go, yes, of course I'm an agent.
Yep.
So some of the lawyers are also kind of like, maybe they're new to the game. They haven't made a whole lot of money. Yes, and they're, maybe they do divorces.
Yeah.
Yes, I know real estate.
I'll be more than happy to make 1.5% of $300,000 on.
I'll figure it out. But you don't know that that's going on. But unfortunately with us, since it's, that whole YouTube thing, my face is out there, I don't know, man. That's why I take my recommendations very, very seriously. When someone goes, man, I'm so glad you pointed me toward Matt.
Yeah.
You got a house. You're so honest. I feel like you got a good deal. Yeah. Everything is fine. I feel good about that. But if I kept going, man, Matt, I think tried to screw me over, Mike, and I'd be like, yeah. Damn it, Matt.
Yeah, of course. Well.
Screw the rest of the people over, not my people.
Yeah, I think it's important to notice how different this approach is to a lot of people that you see on YouTube, where you're pulling the brakes, saying, "Oh my gosh, there are possible liabilities here. I don't necessarily have the perfect lawyer," and you're reeling it in and sort of stopping things to say, "Man, if this isn't as good a service as I really wanted to," you don't keep doing it. And unfortunately, I have to say, there's a whole swath of realtors in the country who didn't let their lack of contacts or their lack of experience and knowledge stop them. Yeah, totally. They just said, no, we can keep doing this. And because there's no certification for realtors, they just end up doing it years later because they haven't gotten in enough trouble to stop them. So anyway, congratulations on reeling it in.
And even when the money is distributed, I'm not really a real estate agent. There's, when the contract or the whatever it's called, where the money is split up and stuff, it's like, wait a minute.
The closing statement.
Yeah, who's getting this? But the thing was, I think last time we talked was probably around that time. There was such great properties. I remember walking around one of the first ones we ever filmed, acre of land, river, a place with plantains, a really nice Tico-style house, but dialed in, porch all around, bodega, and they even had another structure in the back that could be an Airbnb. They used it for canaries.
Yeah.
And I remember filming it, and I go, man, how much are they selling this for? While we're filming, I was asking the guy, how much is $120,000? I'm like, are you freaking? I'll take five.
Yeah.
So we were seeing property after property 20 minutes away from La Fortuna with prices that I thought were extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
And they were. Now, unfortunately, they've gotten the memo outside of La Fortuna, and those properties are not, not like that anymore. They something happened where they go, yeah, we're doing, and then they went the opposite way.
Yeah.
Then they kind of go, okay, it's not 120, it's 1 million.
Oh, just absolutely.
It's like, really? What?
Well, that's just capitalism, and people, the sellers always hear about their cousin or, the whatever deal happened down in a prime area. And yeah, it becomes tough to find them not just going straight up with their price. It's certainly, I still can't believe in our area, people who, some have farms right by the beach. They know they've got absolute gold, and they do, because, titled land very close to the water. If they have water that's developable, really they could be millionaires in a few years. But you go up into the hills and you find people with that, same size piece of land in an absolutely unreasonable, inaccessible location. They're talking about the same prices.
Right, but we also ran into kind of another side little problem. So, okay, 120, and that actually did sell for 120. So I was like, that was very cool. I was like, yeah, of course that's going to sell. But what started happening months later, when I guess, because the place is called Chichagua. It's about 25 minutes outside of Fortuna. So what happened was, hey, this guy really likes your property for 160. Oh, he does? It's not 160. We've raised it. So we were getting that too, to where somebody, and I think going through their mind, they were going, wait a minute, we got 160 too fast.
Yeah.
Oh, but it must be more. And that happened a few times where they would go, not 160, 210.
Yeah, this is another fundamental problem where, yes, realtors in Costa Rica and the whole formal real estate market does have its drawbacks. I hear a lot of people criticize some agents who will only show you a certain select few properties that are their own listings. And that side of the problem is awful, where they're saying, oh, no, there's only this for sale, and they're just trying to make two sides of a commission. However,
that's the other thing that happened.
But you know, a lot of people don't realize that just like buyers can be unqualified, they're not going to actually buy here in Costa Rica. You can get into trouble with sellers who are not actually qualified in the sales sense. They're not truly committed to selling their property. They don't have a signed agreement to do so at any particular price. And I've had people lose money, you know, specifically a for sale by owner situation. They came in having identified the property, so then let's draw up a contract. And we spend months surveying, doing the water letter, all of this money invested in due diligence. And at the end, the seller says, nah, I don't really want to go through with this deal. And suddenly you see the great value in formally listed real estate, stuff where the person has actually signed a contract saying, I am selling at this price, instead of running around and saying, oh yeah, he says he'd sell, and he says he'd sell.
Well, that's a big problem here, especially because I don't know if it's a farmer attitude. I don't know if they go, we can get way more and we're not going to go through with it, because I saw a lot of that, because we sold some pretty cool properties. I thought I was very happy, very reasonable. If I had the money, I've said this, I said it in almost every one we sold. I said, if I had the money, I'd buy this property. And I wasn't kidding. I wasn't kidding. But then I don't know if word got out that things were selling there and it was getting a little bit more popular or something in Chichagua, but all of a sudden what was, 160 becomes 250, and we're not going to sell it. And what you just said is people need to be very aware of that.
Yeah.
When.
So you can struggle in the real estate market here, even if you've already lived over 15 years in the area, and even when you find the best available contacts to help you and your clients. It's not rocket science by any means, but at the same time, it is tricky.
I don't know. I was telling, when I presented this morning, it's like, your contacts are important. And if you don't get hooked up with the right person, things can go south, or not the right things have been done. But a lot of times you don't really know they don't even know what the right things are. And of course, the buyer is going to get burnt.
Yep.
And I don't know, I've said everything you mentioned, I saw, and it was like, if I could just go around and make the videos for properties and have the contract already done and just be like, get the money because I made the video or something, and pass it on.
Yeah.
And pass it on. But then, we had an issue with the person we were using. He's a friend or whatever, doesn't matter. And we go, okay, we won't use you if this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And then we got somebody else who was pretty knowledgeable, but she wasn't certified, and she was doing that thing to where she wouldn't really show all the properties, and I got this one, and it's like, it's like
that to me is one of the easiest indicators. If you're with a realtor out there and you're touring around, and if they seem like they're avoiding certain properties, certain subjects, or if you're only going into their listings.
Giant red flag.
Giant red flag, absolutely. And there are tours where I end up only showing my listings because I'm the listing agent in a community. It's important to have a discussion about, if we find extra properties, and, to be very clear with your realtor as to whether or not they are committed to showing you everything across the board. And it's also in your interest to find somebody who's, obviously going to show you everything form a team with them, get your interests aligned with their interests, and actually go out there and look together. What are some of the ways now that you try to differentiate between people who are full of it here and when you feel you've got someone, that you're working with, a contact that you can trust?
Well, I actually do know a lot more. Just hanging out with you in the past and picking up some things, working with people that maybe weren't the best in what they were doing, and learning some of these things. Everything you've mentioned, I've seen.
Yep.
So I've had firsthand knowledge of some of these things. That channel is still sitting there. And, no, seriously. And I would love to start it back up.
Yeah.
But not just because. I mean, it needs to be kind of what you just said. I need to be. Before it was like, okay, they'll work, I guess. It seems like they'll work.
Yeah.
And I was maybe hoping more than I was using my head about it. And then, D'Angelo and I were having our own little, let's say, personal issues, and we couldn't get our stuff together on the channel. So all these little things weren't really working out. But 5,000 subscribers, people were viewing the properties.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame because it was we had a lot of good information on there as well, not just, just showing property.
Yeah.
And I still to this day get people asking me to, video their property, and I go, sorry, we don't really do that anymore, which we don't.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but if it ever came about where I could find somebody like on their game, on their, up front with kind of the same. It's kind of like this retreat, we circle ourselves with all the people we would use, the trustworthiness. You're going to make money, but not at the expense.
Totally.
You're not ripping people off.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be honest, it's hard to find that mindset. And unfortunately, the real estate business isn't really known to be the most honest.
100%. I understand the reputation, and that's, I'm tickled to be in an industry where, going above and beyond, it can be just sticking to my principles.
No, the cream rises. The cream rises, dude.
Yeah,
cream rises, so.
It's not that easy to stand out, it's not that difficult to stand out when you do have so many people who stretch the boundaries of ethics. And, when I'm trying to evaluate people that I work with, I look at longevity in Costa Rica, the time people have been here, the relationships that they've established. I usually can find a local reputation pretty easily. You can very clearly tell whether people are oriented on building a business, actually setting something up that's going to last the long term.
Maybe delay a little gratification instead of trying to go for let's get that money now.
Absolutely, 100%. And consistently, I find it's easy to help people wait and not buy property when it's not the right time for them. It's very easy to help people walk away and decide not to invest because it saves me time in the end too. And if you're out there and watching and you feel like a realtor is presenting, oh, you really need to do this because there's an opportunity that's going to go away, or if they're creating urgency around a particular property, might be another huge red flag that they're just trying to push you into a decision that benefits themselves financially.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like what I said. When you combine that with the person, I want this to work out. I'm gonna act like I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And let's keep pushing through. And let's keep going.
Yep.
And the hope that this is the house I want. When it's clearly not working with the right people, but you're like,
oh, absolutely.
I want it to work. I really want it to work. And you kind of now all of a sudden you're in denial about some of the things that you see
100%.
that are red flags, and you're kind of ignoring them.
Totally. The hopeful interpretation I see from people who've met a friend who's going to help them buy real estate, and they're just ignoring glaring obvious signs. This is in their interest to a great degree. They're pushing you through this. And people have that dream. Most recently, I was contacted by someone, I need your advice. I'm just hooked on this property on the Caribbean side. It's just starting to feel like maybe the realtor is being a little dishonest with me about the condition of the property. I sort of was like, okay, let's take it back. How many times have you been to this community? How many times have you seen the property yourself? And she had not yet been to Costa Rica. So was only starting to chip away at the dishonesty of the realtor, but also with this idea that she was just going to throw herself into Costa Rica without being here. And it was just difficult to let her down gently, but urgent to
It's a dream, you know, it's a dream or something, you know? Like
why are you even speaking with a realtor at this point? This person, yes, is probably trying to convince you to buy a lemon.
He thinks
if
you're
they're
right.
Doing it
You're right.
Sight unseen.
You're right for the taking. You obviously want it.
Yeah, can you not see how you are being
You're
taken?
begging him to rip you off. You know.
And I know you saw this property in a dream. It's the only $220,000 beachfront, you know. It's got the stilts like you imagine and the yellow color, and there was a toucan flying by, you know.
The sunset with the wine.
Oh, gosh, and it's like...
I want to buy it now.
Totally. It looks so perfect online, and there could be a million reasons the person who's guiding you isn't actually looking out for your interests. So anyhow, I appreciate your entire experience with the real estate site and trying to get into that world. I do think that you are far more qualified than a good deal of the people that call themselves real estate agents. And yeah, just the fact that you're saying, hey, I'm not an official agent is the polar opposite of a lot of people who absolutely aren't, who walk around saying, yeah, I'm a Costa Rica realtor. And, you know, a year and a half ago, they were a dental assistant, you know, in Fort Myers, Florida, or wherever. But anyway, always a pleasure to see Michael Allen. I'm glad we could sit down and chat.
Peace.